This is Stani. I'm a violinist, artistic director for PhiloSonia Chamber Music Series, and also host of our latest interview series, Own Your Voice, on my group, Make Music Your Own. So today I'm very excited to have as my guest the amazing Kate Kayaian. Hi, Kate.
Hi, thanks so much for having me, Stani.
Thanks for being here. So you guys are for such a treat today. The title of the interview is How to Thrive in a Crisis. And this is so current. I know it's on everyone's minds, especially in the music world. We're all in this together. So I thought this would be so helpful for everyone to hear Kate's wisdom and advice. Again, she's a really creative person and has created such amazing things in her life. So we have so much to learn from her. And yeah, so I hope this will be helpful for a lot of you. And for those of you who don't know, Kate is an amazing cellist and educator. And she has a lot of exciting things coming up, which stay until the end to hear about the great things coming up for her. But I'll hand it off to you, Kate, to maybe tell us more about you, especially the people who don't know you.
Sure. Thanks, Sunny. So as she said, I'm a cellist by training. I grew up in Chicago and had kind of the typical childhood as a musician. You know, I took my lessons, I did youth orchestras, I did the festivals, and then I went to New England Conservatory. And then after that, I became a New World Symphony Fellow and quickly realized that I had zero interest in playing in an orchestra. I was surrounded by people who were so excited about taking auditions and getting a job like that. And I was like, I'm missing something. So I went back to Boston and I settled there for a long time. I was teaching and performing and freelancing. And then through a whole twisted turn of events, I am now living in Bermuda. Yes, on the island of Bermuda with my husband and our two totally insane cats. And yeah, still doing what all of us are doing. You know, it was a mix of performing. I spent a lot of time on airplanes, traveling for concerts and teaching. I've been teaching online for 5 years now. So I'm very grateful that in this current crisis, wasn't really much of a change for me. Doing that. And then I write a blog called Tales from the Lane, which is a lifestyle blog for musicians, kind of dealing with the issues that we all have to deal with of practicing and motivation and teaching and festivals and performing and traveling and all that stuff. Yeah, and I do coaching. So I work with other professional musicians to help them kind of figure out what they want out of life and how to make a career, call it sort of a bespoke career that fits more in alignment with the lifestyle that they want to live. So for instance, I wanted to live on an island. And how do you be a classical musician that gets to live on an island? So I had to figure that out. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And then of course, as you mentioned, a little teaser, I am starting a brand new online festival for cellists, for advanced student cellists. And that's going to happen this summer for 7 weeks, and I'm super excited about that.
That's so awesome. I remember the first time you told me about this, my mind was blown. I did not know that was possible, like a virtual summer camp. And when you told me, the more you told me about it, the more I was just so amazed of your creativity and the way, like I can't imagine the work that you put into it to create. I mean, it's incredible with amazing guest artists and just all that the kids are going to get for during those weeks. It's just amazing.
I'm so jealous of them.
I wish I played the cello. This is so exciting. So that's gonna be great. Amazing. And so you're really you're exactly the kind of musician who's created her own career on your own terms. You just really got in touch with what you want, what are your values, what are your priorities in life. And I feel like you're really that example of somebody who really made their own career in life. And I know that takes a lot of courage and resilience and determination. So I wanted to ask you, would you share what are some of the biggest challenges and setbacks that kind of you had to get over to get to where you are? Because
Absolutely. I have to think. I mean, first of all, I think that those two words that you just said, the courage and resilience, I think you really hit it. Although as musicians, as trained musicians, I mean, I think we are chock full of resilience, right? I mean, week after week being told, no, it's not good enough. No, it's not good enough. I think as musicians, as a group, we do have a lot of ingrained resilience that we can draw from in other situations. I think it's more courage that has been the thing that has stood in my way in the past, is the thing that I had to overcome in order to create this. I think the courage to trust myself, the courage to trust that when I had an idea about something, that it was the courage to trust myself when I was at New World and I had this feeling that everybody was telling me I was a great principal cellist. Everybody was telling me I was going to win a great job, and I didn't want it, and I had to trust that. And the courage when I was in Boston to feel like, even though I was playing with the great groups and had a really great situation that I was so appreciative of, it wasn't what I wanted to be doing. And the courage when I had this idea of, crap, summer festivals are getting canceled and they're all going to get, like, they are not going to happen this summer and these poor kids are not going to have anything to do. What if I have this idea of this thing that I could do that would give them an opportunity? You have to trust yourself. And then the other thing, courage to not listen to what other people are saying, or I should say courage to not worry about what other people are saying. Because either, more often than not, they are not paying attention to what you are doing. Like, either they really care and they think it's awesome and that's great and fantastic, or they just don't care and they're not paying attention, they're not watching, and they're dealing with their own life and their own issues. Or they see what you're doing and they think it's terrible and they tell you. And do you really care? I mean, you can't. You have to say, well, maybe they're stuck, maybe they're jealous, maybe that's just their opinion, and that's okay. But you have to have the courage to kind of say, well, I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah.
And there's something about, like feeling like this inner strength where, like, yes, people are going to say things, circumstances will change, environment will change. There's going to be a lot of things that can come your way to just distract you or just make you feel powerless. But I think if, like, kind of knowing that whatever you feel, like your gut instinct, your intuition, what you have in you is, is the most important thing. That's all you have to work with. So
absolutely.
And on a daily basis is. Sure.
Yeah, everybody's coming from their own experience, right? So the people who are saying, why would you leave New World? Why would you not want an orchestra job? It's because that's what they really want. They think that's perfect for them. And that's great. But they can't always understand that somebody else might not want what we want. So.
Yeah. And in a way, I feel like it makes it harder when you're in a position like all the place you've been into, like being in New World, like a really prestigious place where, very competitive place most people want to be as musicians, and being there and making that decision is so much harder than being in a crisis or feeling like things are not going out well anyway. So you could might as well try anything. Right. It's so much harder to make that decision when everything's going well, but it's not going well for you. That's a harder decision to make.
Absolutely. I mean, I learned more at the New World Symphony than anywhere else in my life. I mean, it was an incredible place. But you're right. I mean, sometimes you are in a situation where you're forced to. You have no choice. Like right now, we have no choice but to really take a hard look at our careers and what we want out of life and what we can do and what we care about, and we have to do it.
That's what I was going to say. Like, in a way, this is, I mean, it's, cheesy. Every crisis is an opportunity, but really it is, because you have nowhere to go but up from here. And such a great time to try out anything that you want, that you've ever wanted. And
oh my gosh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's sad for me to see. I mean, I don't know if you've heard all of the doom and gloom articles that have been coming out in the last week or so about how, orchestra concerts can't happen for at least 18 months to 2 years, or it's going to be the last thing to come back after a recession. And I mean, who knows? I hope not. I hope that things happen sooner. But it's a possibility, and we're foolish not to think that that might be a possibility. And it makes me sad to see people who are just like, well, I'm just going to quit music and go to law school or go to, I mean, unless they really want to go to law school, that's great. But if they're just giving up on music because they're scared of what's to come, I mean, I think that there are alternatives. I think you can stay in music, and if it's what's important to you, and just there are ways to figure it out. You just have to adapt.
Absolutely. And you're, again, a great example of being adaptive and just really listening to your own voice. And you've created something really wonderful that really helps musicians, artists, or anyone really to kind of get in touch with their voice and find their own truth, their own path, and their own voice, which is what exactly we're talking about here. And it's called the Build Your Perfect Life.
So the Build Your Best Life. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I used blueprint and building because I really felt like that's what I had to do when I realized I was going to leave everything behind in Boston and start a totally new kind of career for myself. I really felt like I was building it from the bottom up and taking steps, and both taking steps career-wise and taking steps internally of how I looked at myself and my life and what I wanted. So I put together this 4-part exercise, which I can put the link in the notes. But I thought maybe we could just do part of it. I can share it with your audience. And the second part of it is called talent stacking. And so it's a really easy exercise if you want to grab a pen and a piece of paper, and you just write down everything that you know how to do.
Awesome.
I think we're conditioned to think, well, I'm a cellist, and that's all I know how to do, because I spent all of my hours growing up playing the cello and practicing the cello, and that's what I do. And then I have these little hobbies, right? Well, look at your hobbies as a skill that you have, right? So I'm a cellist, and I like to make graphics on Canva, and I can build websites, and I can write, and I can garden. And so just take everything you do and just write them down.
And actually, I'm going to take this moment to just ask everyone to say hi in the comments. We want to.
Oh, yes, please.
We want to hear from everyone who's here.
Oh, yeah, you're the pro. You've done this.
Anna Maria's here. Hi, Anna Maria. Oh, wonderful to see you, friends.
Hi, Anna
Maria. And so we're going to do this exercise. So if you're just coming in, take some paper, pen, or pencil, and we're going to do something really fun that I know will change the way you think about yourself, and it will open up your mind to a lot of possibilities for sure.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you can say hi where you are right now, where you're quarantined. That'll be great. And so we're going through the blueprint, and yes, Kate will take us through.
Yes, Stani is going to lead us off. So do you want to, why don't you name like 3 to 5 things that you can do? What's in your talent stack?
Does my main count, or other than my?
What's your main count?
Violinist, performer. 2 would be, I love self-development kind of stuff, like, you know, psychology and human behavioral kind of things. I love, just like you, I love Canva. I could spend days on Canva. I love graphic design and just interior design too. I guess those are kind of different. And what else? So that's, yeah. I love connecting people. I love like seeing that, like, yeah, I love to connect people and see that that goes into like some other creative project, or just seeing people work together and create something. I just love, yeah, I love to inspire creativity in people, I guess, too.
Right. So you're a violinist, and you like to create beautiful experiences, whether it's in your home or on a piece of paper or on a computer. And you like to bring people together, and you like personal growth. So, like, to me, even not knowing anything about you, I would say that something that could be really interesting to you would be like to create some sort of experience concert, whether it's live or virtual, where it was a beautiful place, a beautiful setting, and everything about it was just really aesthetically pleasing and beautiful, with great colors, and bringing other people into it, right? And sort of what you're doing now, like you're doing an interview with me, right? Like, so but all of that stuff makes it you, because it, like, I mean, how many violinists are there out there in the world? Millions, right?
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you're just looking for a, hey, Sarah, you're just
Speaking of violinists.
right? You have to choose between Sarah or Stani. But if you're looking for, somebody who does exactly the skills that Stani has put together, well, she's your girl. Like, she's who you go for. And so I think in a period like now, when we are in this crisis, and we can't just wait for the contractors to call and play the gigs that we've been playing for years, and we have to figure out something new. I really recommend that you write down all of the things that you were good at, and then write them down in a full paragraph as if they are all equally important. So you would say, I am a violinist who loves design, be it graphic or interior. I love personal growth, and I do, just write it in paragraph form, and then spend a little bit of time thinking about who would be served by that. So instead of thinking, okay, these are my skills, what can I do? Think, these are my skills, who might be looking for somebody who had this stack of skills, this particular stack of skills, right? And then, hi, Kinga. Did I say your name right?
Kinga. Hi, Kinga. Yeah.
Hello.
Maybe take a break. If you guys want to write in the comments any of your talents, like maybe all of your talents.
I'd love to hear that.
One comment or in 5 consecutive comments, as you wish. It would be great to share and brainstorm through this together.
And the more random, the better. That makes it
absolutely that's the more fun.
Well, he's really good at Rubik's Cube, and no, it's great. So if you start thinking of it, well, who would be served by that, right? So in my case, I am a cellist who has had a lot of experience running programs. I've been the chamber music director of a couple of different youth orchestra programs and festivals. I have taught at various summer festivals. I've been a participant at various festivals. I have a pretty wide network of cellists that I can call on, and I'm a teacher. I work primarily with high school students and college students, and I'm pretty savvy with websites and mailing and marketing and stuff like that. So who could be served by that? Well, high school and college level cellists who need a summer program in order to further their growth. They need a way to meet teachers that they might be applying for and auditioning for college. They need to expand their network, right? So you find a way to take your talents to build something that could serve that group of people.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're using the best of you to give somebody else what they need. Because I think as musicians, we tend to just, we sit in our practice room and we play and we're like, okay, I'm really good. Does anybody want to hear me? Right? Yeah. Instead of saying, this person needs some solo Bach, so I'm going to work on some solo Bach and provide it for them, right? You start with service.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always so wrong. Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, guys, feel free to keep the comments coming. What's in your mind right now? What are some talents that you can think of? And that can be a process. I think looking inside and coming up with all the things that you can do can take a while. Can take a week, or can take some.
Oh, absolutely. That's the fun of it, because you'll be I don't know, working in the garden or in line at the grocery store, standing behind a tape and thinking, oh, I know something else I'm good at. And they just keep coming to you, and sometimes they're things that we've never really thought about as a work skill.
Yeah.
Right? Like you said, well, the fact that you love design and aesthetics. Well, did you ever think of that particularly as a work skill, or just something that you did when you weren't working?
Yeah.
I would pour through design books and interior design and my shelter magazines, when I wasn't working.
Yeah.
But then those things really helped when I'm designing a website and picking colors and doing things like that.
It's amazing. It's usually the things. Hey, Wendy.
Hey, Wendy.
It's usually those things that we love doing even if we're not getting paid. The things you do in your free time. that's also a skill you're developing. You know,
Yeah.
whether like it could be a skill that you love Instagram and spend a lot of like I don't know, like everything you do and spend a lot of time doing is actually building a skill on some level, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, somebody who's spending tons of time engaging on, I mean, as long as they're not just scrolling, right? If they're actively engaging on Instagram, well, that's a huge skill that a lot of musicians don't have and that they have to work on in order to do marketing and do that. Wendy, if you're just joining us, we are doing a talent stacking exercise. So if you want to toss into the comments like a few random skills that you have, we're talking about how you can take all of your random skills and sort of create a new direction in your career from those. Like she's an awesome tango dancer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and for anyone who's joining, the second step would be to think who you could serve with those talents combined together, and just being creative with that as well. And well, what is just maybe while we do this, and what would be the next step for this? Or is that the second step for the?
That's the second step. Yeah. The first step is kind of goes into what your sort of your core role is. I call it what makes you tick. And it's about whether you are primarily a teacher, where you're always teaching somebody something, or if you are an investigator or a curator or a creator. So there are some exercises in that. And then the third thing is, oh gosh, it's your values. Right, and talking about what's super important to you in your life, right? And we'll come back to that in a second. Gilad says, creating shows and business skills I learned in 9 years of real estate work. Yeah, Gilad, can you get specific? Like, what's one business skill that you did in real estate that that you could name? Business skills is kind of broad, but what's like something that you could say, well, I'm really good at this particular thing, and that can help me in launching a new endeavor. Yeah.
And
that,
so that's terrific. And Kate, make sure you put in the comments link to the book so everyone can take advantage of this.
I'm going to put this in here now.
Yeah, such a great way to help you really see how creative you can really be with your career. And we all have so much in us. We need to, first love ourselves, look inside, and like see all the beauty that's here that we have to share.
Yes. How do I leave a comment?
Let's see, maybe on Facebook, if you open a Facebook.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
On the
complicated, isn't it?
Always is. Let's see. So any particular, I mean, everything you've said today has been really, really helpful. And I'm sure anyone who's listening or seeing you for the first time is also having so many ideas coming up for possibilities. And I think that's being open up to what's possible and being creative with it and having fun with it.
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Just want to make sure I didn't mute by mistake. No, I was saying everything you said so far has been so inspiring, and it's been very also actionable advice that people can do right now to like open up kind of their mind to what's possible and what is possible for them, what their talents can, how their talents can be applied in the outside world. But also, I was wondering if there's any, like, we can imagine a lot of people feeling stuck, feeling unproductive, feeling like they have no options, bleak. What would you say to them? What is some like advice or something you would tell them to kind of help them get out of that state right now?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think it's completely understandable that somebody would be in this state. I mean, we have a lot to grieve and to sort through. And I think that we need to take really good care of ourselves in that. For me, I've often found that if there's something that, like an activity that grounds me, it's really good to just come back to that. So for instance, I realized that whenever I was coming back from a tour or from a concert trip or something, the first thing I would do is I would like prune my house plants or go work in the garden or go water my plants or something. It's just like gardening and working with plants grounded me. It made me feel like I had come home, right? So maybe take a look, is there something that makes you feel calm and like everything's okay in your life? Whether that's painting or reading poetry or just doing the crossword puzzle. I think everybody has some activity that you just sort of do naturally. Make sure you're doing that and keeping yourself as grounded as possible. And then take some time, go through these exercises, do the Build Your Best Life Blueprint, because I think it takes they're exercises that I went through. And that's why I narrowed it down to the 4 that really helped to get me to where I am now. They answered all the questions that I needed to answer. And yeah, I think just taking a look and getting hopeful. I think the main message is, okay, let's assume that things are not going to go back to the way they were, right? What are some exciting things that you could do? What is going to be needed? I think people focus a lot on what we've lost and what isn't coming back. But now there's room. I mean, if you think about this coronavirus has left all of us, if you picture yourself in an empty room, because your concerts went out, the festivals you were going to teach at went out, certain projects you were going to do went out. And so the room is empty. And at some point you can start adding things into the room. It's back to my like interior design mind, right? Right. So it's like, well, I never really liked that sofa anyway. I just had it for so long and it was comfortable, right? Well, like, okay, now I get to get a whole new sofa. What would I want that to look like? Right. And so you can start to see your career, like now's your chance. Like if there were things that you realized you were doing just because you'd been doing them for 10 years or because it was what it was expected of you, now's your chance to say, okay, I don't need to put that back in.
Yeah.
I can say goodbye to that gig. And looking at, you know, the fact that everybody is more comfortable online now, or most people are more comfortable online now. Your students who maybe were resistant to teaching online are like, they're used to it now, they're fine. I remember when I first started teaching online 5 years ago, I had parents, well, every single parent for the first time was resistant to it. And I would have to say, okay, well, let's just do one for free. And if you hate it, we don't ever have to do it again. And if you like it, we can work it out. And every single time, 100% of the time, they're like, this is amazing. This is great. And to the point where even when I was in their city, they'd be like, can we just meet online anyway? Because kind of, I don't want to drive. Yeah. So now that everybody's really uncomfortable with this way of learning and teaching, maybe you can expand that. Maybe you can reach out. Maybe there are all of these students of your instrument that don't live near a major city and can't get to a big teacher, you know, or the obvious teachers, or they can't get to you. But maybe they can get to you online now. Like maybe this is opening a whole world to them. Yeah. That didn't exist before.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this actually, I just saw, Gilad, you added to your business skills you learned from your estate, realizing the value of my time. Huge. Serving my clients' needs. Yeah, very essential. Yes, sorry, just saw these.
Negotiating. That's huge.
Yeah.
Musicians
don't learn that. Yeah, we don't learn that in school. Like, sure, I'll do this for $5. Sure, it's a good. But and speaking of like online opportunities, again, I want to go back to your amazing festival, because even for all the viewers, and if you're seeing this later, even if you don't play the cello, I just want you guys to go see, check out the link that Kate will put down for the cello, but just to see what's possible. First of all, anyone can audit the festival, which I encourage you to do, and just also to see how she's created it, like all the things that the students are getting, and maybe it'll get you thinking what you can do as well. I mean, so I know as I said, my mind was blown to see what's possible. And that's so inspiring.
Yeah. The first question I had when I started putting it together, which was so fun. The first question was, how can I make this experience as good as a summer festival would be?
Mm-hmm.
And then my second question to myself was, actually, how could I make this better than what a summer festival would be?
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Because everything has its limitations.
Yeah.
And everything has its possibilities. So because we're online, because it's virtual, that meant that nobody had to fly in to be somewhere, right? So it was going to be much less expensive for, say, students from Europe. We have a bunch of students from Mexico and Brazil and places who might not normally have been able to get to the States for a summer festival. They can take part in this now. And likewise for the faculty, you know, I mean, Johannes Mosher he's very busy, but like he can log on to his computer and teach at my festival. He doesn't have to give up a month of his life and fly to Bermuda, although he might not mind doing that. But yeah, so I had a much greater access to faculty members from all over the world who didn't have to leave their homes all summer. So they were, you know, and their concerts got canceled too. So they're free, they're available. And yeah, and just all of the different fun activities that we could do. We're going to do a tour of a string factory, and you know, tons of vendors are really into it, and so they're donating goods that the kids are going to. That's kind of a secret. Sorry. Yeah, so it's been really fun of how, you know, these kids are missing so much. They're missing the high school kids. They're missing prom. They're missing their graduation. They're missing all of the senior spring activities or whatever year they're in, all of that experience of being on campuses. And they're missing out on being able to do a summer festival this year in person. So it's been really fun for me to figure out, how can I make this the most incredible experience? How can I make it so good that even if life is back to normal next summer, they still want to do something like this, right? And it goes back to the, you know, lead with service. What would be amazing for them?
Yeah.
What would be amazing for them?
Yeah. You're thinking of from a place of service, and also you're thinking from their point of view. You're thinking of your ideal, you know, client, customer. You're thinking what you're really seeing everything through their eyes, which I think is so crucial.
Yeah, Marcy Rosen, she's incredible, right? She's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, and now that Marlboro's been canceled, she's going to be able to teach even more lessons. I mean, it's like, you know,
there's really silver lining. You
have to look at things in a different light. What are the opportunities for everybody involved? And then it becomes fun and it becomes hopeful, and you get out of a place of grief and mourning and loss and into a place of hope and excitement and possibility.
So beautiful. Thank you, Kate, so much for being here today. This is just
it's my pleasure.
Inspiring as always. Every time I speak to you, it's just super
Thank you. I love this group. I love this community that you've created here. I think it's so important. It's exactly what everybody needs right now. So I'm just so thrilled to be a part of it today. Thank you.
So everyone, make sure you check out Kate's Build Your Best Life Blueprint. Is going to give you a lot of ideas, and check out her virtual summer cello camp. Just for like, if you don't play the cello, check it out as an auditor and check the amazing stuff she's built, because it's really, really incredible.
Thank you so much. I'll put all of those links in there right now.
And feel free to, even if you're watching this later, share comments. I really want to ask you guys now, all the viewers, watching this, even if you watch it later, what are some things you're taking away from this interview? What are some things that are inspiring you right now? What is going on in your head? What are you thinking? Oh, this sounds great. I could probably put this into practice. So tell us, what's the one big takeaway from this interview, and how would you put it into practice and really make it your own? That's what we're talking about. So thank you all for watching. Thank you, Kate, so much. It's been
thank you. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.